And action.
Boom! Here we are, in your face, full of vim.
Vim and vinegar.
Well, yes.
Well, a lot of vinegar.
A little sour. A little sour. A little on the sharp side. A little acidic.
Pickles are a little too dill.
Yes. So, yeah, we're going to listen to a song with, I've got a song with the lyrics that we can even follow along.
Ooh, sweet.
Called Not in Kansas by The National.
All right.
Are you ready to rock and roll, even though this is not a super rock and roll-y song?
Now, the National is a baseball team, right?
No, I believe that's a division, isn't it?
Oh,
I don't
okay.
know.
There's a National League.
There is a league. Yes, there's a league. All right. Let's just go ahead and see how this goes.
Not in Kansas, I can't slow down and I can't stand it. Broadcast news into hallelujah. Hannah Darboven had a great idea. Make a list, write it down, shave your head, draw a crown, move back home with mom and dad. The pool is drained and they're not there. My bedroom is a stranger's gunroom. Ohio's in a downward spiral. I can't go back there anymore since alright opium went viral. I am not in Kansas, where I am I don't know where. Take me for a walk and blame this on the water dripping off the spear. You even get to wear a dress and feed his flesh to wayward daughters. Everyone is so impressed. Teachers, neighbors, mothers, fathers. First Testament was really great. The sequel was incredible. Like the Godfathers of the first two strokes. Every document's indelible. Infidels and heartbreak beats, smidges of bad ecstasy. I must have left it in my pocket with my Christianity and my rocket. I'm binging hard on Annette Bening and listening to R.E.M. again. Begin to begin, over and over. Begin to begin, over and over. I am not in Kansas, where I am I don't know where. Take me for a walk and blame this on the water dripping off the spear.
If the sadness of life makes you tired and the failures of man make you sigh, you can look to the time soon arriving when this noble experiment winds down and calls it a day.
My shadow's getting shorter. I'm a child at the border. Oh, Godmother, you can't ignore us. There isn't anybody else left to love us. I wanted you when I was a child. I raked the leaves and I started fires. Now I'm reading whatever you give me. That's half your fault, so half forgive me. I'm way behind in reflex math, biphasic, sleepless, emotional crashes. 2 days into one, shove them together. I always wake up way before the weather. My mother needs an army, but I'm leaving home and I'm scared that I won't have the balls to punch a Nazi. Father, what is wrong with me? I am not in Kansas, where I am I don't know where. Take me walk and blame this on the water dripping off the spear. Oil droppers, rubber gloves, I rake the leaves, I lit them up. I read whatever it is you give me. It's half your fault, so half forgive me. At the real Neil Armstrong taught me to play cutthroat at my Aunt Angela's house, while my real dad skate got caught in the ice. He drove us home with a spiral fracture. It was then I was enlightened. Roberta Flack the whole way home. I was entirely unfrightened, dozing off and eternally unalone. The flowers cover over everything. They cover over everything. The flowers cover over everything. I am not in Kansas where I am. I don't know where. Take me for a walk and blame this on the water dripping off the spear.
Time has come now to stop being human. Time to find a new creature to be. Be a fish or a weed or a sparrow. For the earth has grown tired and all of your time has expired. All the gardens are sprouting with flowers. All the treetops are bursting with birds. And the people all know that it's over. They lay down their heads and they hang up their tiresome words.
Wow. Wow. I love it. Yeah. Good emotions.
Yeah.
Good poetry speaks to you through the meaning of its words and through the meaning of the sounds of the words and through the meaning of what can only be carried under words and without words. Um, uh, that's good stuff. When was that written?
I want to say it's either 1 or 2 years ago.
Okay.
National. I'll just check it to make sure.
Yeah, I could. If you told me it was written this week, I'd believe you.
That's it's 2019.
2019.
So it's actually older than I thought.
Yeah.
Yeah. It
Yeah.
it really resonated with me this past week.
Yeah, a little depressing that it's back, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, eternal. It's eternal. What is it? What are we talking about? It's eternal. Find a new creature. We need to find a new creature to become. That is interesting. Yeah, the biblical allusions throughout, not illusions, but allusions. The speaking. I love. It's just beautiful stuff from so many ways. The choice of the simplicity of the song, the choice of how acoustic it is versus electronic, even when they're using electronic instruments. The introspective solo voice, the depth to which it goes, which changes the tone of it, and the more hymn choir juxtaposition is lovely to give the different voices. I love the time jumps within it. That one moment he's talking about the past, and the next moment he's talking about the future, and all while trying to figure out what to do at the present. The literary allusions, the musical allusions are all way over my head. So I feel like I've probably missed 65% of it at the very least. But yeah, kind of capturing a dark. I just did. We just went past Halloween. This is November now, right? And so for my at my school, I did we do these faith and film nights, and I did faith and film night on It's the Great Pumpkin, Charlie Brown, um, which I adore all of, not all of. That's I adore a lot of the Peanuts stuff. Um, I'm a big Peanuts fan, but one of the things that I like about his first ones and the Great Pumpkin especially is that it's fun, and you feel like it's fun, and when you watch it, you feel like there's an underlying buzz of hope. But when you look at it, my talk was called the It's the Great Pumpkin, Charlie Brown, and a Theology of Disappointment, because there isn't a single storyline that ends well in that 22 minutes. It's all about collecting rocks. It's all about missing Halloween because you sat with your boyfriend in the pumpkin patch. It's all about disappointing the Great Pumpkin so he doesn't come. It's all about having to be embarrassed because you have to ask for extra treats for your brother because he's out in the pumpkin. Like nothing goes well for anybody. Yet we still feel a sense of it's not a completely hopeless. It's not a completely. Um, uh, it's a lament about how bad things are, but somehow we come away from it thinking, but it doesn't have to be that way. There's something going on, and within the Halloween special, there's an undercurrent. The character least likely. The shows love despite the fact. So Lucy is kind of like representing God in that episode, which by design, by Schultz's design, he wanted Linus to be the one to be completely failable. But she's sacrificing so much. She's embarrassing herself by asking for candy for him. She stops by twice to give him another chance to come trick or treats or to go to the party. And then it ends with her setting her alarm for 4 a.m. For those who don't remember the ending of it, she sets her alarm for 4 a.m. because she knows he's still out there. And so she wakes up. She sacrifices her sleep so that she can check to see, yes, he's still out there, goes, collects him, undresses him, puts him in bed, and goes back. The entire time he's asleep, nobody else knows she's doing it. It's this unseen act of love from somebody who doesn't want to love him, for somebody who doesn't want to be doing all of that. And so this undercurrent, this subtext that, but maybe. And I kind of felt like in listening to this, there's a little bit of that as well. I think in the tonal juxtaposition of what we've had before and can we wait it out? It's not completely nihilistic. It's not saying, well, it's over. It's saying, wow, how are we here? But maybe we can wait it out. Maybe things can get better. Maybe I love that final illusion of we have to figure out how to become a new creature. Given Paul, we're made to be new creatures in Christ, right?
Mm-hmm.
That we're not made for this world, so maybe the world will do better without us. I don't know. That's my first impressions. First time I've heard this song. I don't know if you want to do a deeper dive. We can go ahead and do that, but
Yeah,
that's just kind of my first impressions.
Yeah, those are great. Yeah, we could go through some of it and see how it goes. Yeah, I think I love your bringing in the Peanuts thing because there's definitely some overlap there. The way he or the band are bringing in like the concrete memories and nostalgia makes the whole thing kind of resonate, and you kind of, I don't know, for me I feel like part of a bigger picture of stuff going on, even though right now in the moment
Yeah.
like the shock of change and disappointment is pretty immense.
And the idea that we're not, the song is not in the moment, it's in the moment and it's in the past and it's predicting future.
Yep. All right, let's just see.
I am not in Kansas. I can't slow down and I can't stand it.
I'm just going to stop it there, just because the whole idea of I am not in Kansas really captures like when all of a sudden your world feels like it changes or something big happens, everything feels off and wrong. And you're like, I'm not where I thought I was.
Not where, you're right. Yeah. And the of course, the allusion to the line in Wizard of Oz, and Dorothy, kind of the hilarity of Dorothy going from a black and white Kansas to Technicolor Oz, and having to say to Toto, "I don't think we're in Kansas anymore." That stark reality, but your brain can't process. Of just as you said, it's like I was in black and white, I'm in Technicolor now, or I was in Technicolor, I'm in black and white now. It is that stark, but my brain still is trying to figure out where am I? Why am I? Yeah. And again, the opening, just the simplicity of the guitar. I love hearing the fret slides that tell us that it's guitar, that's acoustic guitar and not, it's not processed music. It's that simple string take on it. So instead of beginning with something bombastic or even something booming or something, there's so many choices that could start a song like this one. Could start angry, and it doesn't start angry, which is interesting to me. That it's not about anger is an undercurrent of some of what's going on, of what has been lost, but that's not the approach. The approach is more introspective.
Yeah, I would say, like, just this past week, because something big happened. But anytime like it feels like the world has let me down or the world has changed or whatever, like I always tend to go to music when things happen. And I often will go with the angry or the really, but this is kind of where a week later I've sort of settled. At the moment, this feels like where I'm at.
Yeah, it's almost like, looking at the Psalms of lament. It's like, what are the Psalms that are angry Psalms? Why? And what are the songs that are more of, the lament of, what do I do? What do I do? What do I do with this? I don't know what to do with this feeling. I don't know what to do with this emotion. I don't know what to do with this situation.
Stand it, broadcast news into hallelujah. Hannah Darboven had a great idea.
Do you know what Hannah Darboven is?
No. I was hoping you could tell me. She's a German artist.
Yeah.
Best known for large-scale minimalist.
Huh. Yeah.
Included music and photography in there. This is great viewing, watching us read things.
Yeah, I'm sure it is, but
no idea what her idea was that he's referring to.
Yeah, unless it's something with simplifying your perspective, maybe. I don't know. Thing is, bringing in, like I said, like these concrete references and specific things.
Yeah.
I don't know what it kind of grounds the whole thing.
Yeah. It's real place, real time.
Right.
whether we know the references or not. And that's I think a lot of the point for pieces like this is we don't need to know the references to understand the sentiments behind them. I like that line too, turning news into Alleluia. We were talking even before it began about, because there are a couple of ways you can go with that. You kind of go the classic Cohen Alleluia, which I think is probably what's being alluded to here by the Nationals, or the celebratory, right? And rarely do we talk about the news as being things that can be celebratory, but whatever it is, such and such a country attacked such and such a country, there are people who are turning that into celebration.
Yep.
Which what do you do with? What do you do with, right? No matter what it is, like
I've seen hallelujahs this past week all over the place.
Yeah, it's like, oh yeah, all these people, even when there's death involved, 50,000 died. Well, let me tell me which side was it the 50,000 on, so I know whether I'm celebrating and in your face, or yeah.
Oof, hallelujah in your face. That's
yeah. I had our provost this morning. We had a faculty meeting, and she started just by kind of reminiscing or ruminating on the idea of have you ever had a really good idea to give God because you could do it better than the way he did it, kind of a thing. And what she brought up, which I thought was interesting, she said that she'd start with the resurrection because she'd change who Jesus went to, and it would be Pilate, it would be Herod, it'd be Caiaphas. Like, go in your face, like I'm risen, in your face, dude. I conquered the cross. Suck it.
Take that.
She didn't use any of those words. Those were all put into my mind when I'm like, oh yeah, because that's our tendency, right? Is to turn is in your face alleluias.
Yep. Yep. And they've been flying. Yep.
Make a list, write it down, shave your head, draw a crown, move back home with mom and dad. The pool is drained and they're not there.
Oh yeah, I love that. Shave your head, draw a crown. You're not wearing a crown; you're drawing one, right? You're trying to put something on. Move back to his mom and dad. I love the pool is drained and they're not there.
Yeah.
Which is that whole, you can never go home again kind of concept of it's not like, what am I going to do for relief? I'm going to go back to when it was simple and everything was happy. And why aren't they there to take care of me? I can't even go swimming. They've moved on.
Yeah, that captures the going back to a place where you've got the nostalgia and the feelings of safety, and it's not the same.
It is not the same.
Yeah, the whole sense of when your sense of place changes. Wow, is that a slap?
Yeah, it's a good thought experiment.
Yeah.
When was the first time you realized that your home that you grew up in was no longer your home? And how sad was that day?
Yeah.
How invigorating, but how sad was that day?
Yeah. I'll tell you, we recently got everything out of my mom's house where we grew up, and boy, being in that house when there was nobody in there and nothing anymore.
Yeah, the empty house with most of their things gone.
Yep.
Because we both have been through that recently.
Mm-hmm.
And now my siblings are renovating my parents' house. And I have mixed feelings every time they send a picture of a room that I have to go, which room is that? Because it's now different. It's now something else.
And now it feels like there's a little bit of a feeling of my whole country is now different than I thought it was.
You can't go back home. Can't go back to it.
Nope.
Yeah.
My bedroom is a stranger's gun room. Ohio's in a downward spiral. I can't go back there anymore since all right opium went viral.
So in case we were wondering if they're political at all, we see what side of the politics this is on, and I wonder, to be generous, 4 years ago, how many people who thought we've solved the world's problem, our country is going to be defined as me and people who look like me, people who think like me, and then he went away. Were they going through this, and now they're back, flipped to the other side. Yeah, I love the allusion to my bedroom. I, not that it's a gun case, but that it's used to be my bedroom.
Yep.
It's been given over to somebody else. There's somebody else living in my room, which is that kind of it is that first step of realizing, wait, this is not my home anymore. It's
Right.
not my room anymore. The parents have done something else with it. My brother Greg, oldest brother, was the first to leave the house to go to college. The family gathered in the front room, everybody to say their goodbyes, and then stood out on the porch or on the front lawn, waving as he drove away. He got about 2 miles down the road when he realized he forgot something, came back, walked into the house, and my other brothers had already had his bed in the hallway. We're clearing all of his stuff out. Didn't take long.
Nope. There's going to be some hardcore renovating going on soon in a few months. Yeah. Yep.
I am not in Kansas, where I am I don't know where. Take me for a walk and blame this on the water dripping off the spear.
Yeah. So of course, blame it on is fun when you realize what the water dripping off the spear is, and I've got to believe that it's when Jesus was on the cross and they stabbed him in the side to prove he was dead. Water came out. So this is, basically blame it on Christ dying on the cross, right? Is what he's saying, which is interesting. Going from kind of a complaint of current politics to really to just the brokenness of all of mankind, right? The need for a savior, beyond the kind of how do I say this, the almost political version of need of a savior, so you can join my church, to what is it that we're broken, what do we look like broken, and it's not of course what they're alluding to here. The brokenness isn't oh, I'm poor or I'm sick or I'm as much as, oh, my attitudes towards my neighbor, my attitudes towards the world around me, my attitudes towards different gender, different race, different, like those kind of exclusionary superiority kind of things that we grab onto. Blame it on the water dripping off the spear. What a great line.
Yeah. Oof. Well, it can make you feel better if you can think of somebody else as less than you.
Yeah. And I think as we're sitting here grumbling, and I know there are people at home listening to this, both of them. It's not about, and this is where it comes to, I'm not in Kansas anymore. It's not about a regime change. We have dipped into politics before on this show when you've had me on, and as a Republican, I've been through the regime changes all the way, back to Clinton taking the White House. It's been a back and forth, and that's not the problem. The problem isn't the back and forth, because that doesn't change the world.
Right.
That changes which way the wind is blowing, as opposed to, oh, the world isn't the same anymore. And I think what has been happening, especially in the past 20 years, uh, is this isn't the same world anymore. It's not even the same world anymore. Um, we're in a world where Ronald Reagan would never fit. He would not be successful in this world that we're in. Uh, because of the shift in heart of what do we consider to be American, what do we consider to be citizen, what do we consider to be Christian. All of those things have shifted to be defined in a way that uh, was conceivable 20, 30 years ago, was present 20 to 30 years ago, but did not have this level of prevalence and this level of identity, this unifying identity. It was always there. It was never unifying. And the shift that we have seen is that this is what's unifying now, is
Right.
this
And
new way of looking at this new redefinition is unifying, and it hasn't been. We haven't seen that, or maybe I'm just blind-eyed to it, but
well,
it
and it's
hasn't been
also
unifying is
yeah,
the key.
and it's also more out
Yeah.
there, and it's also more than half.
Yeah.
Apparently,
And
more than half of the
yeah,
country.
it's kind of it's a return to where we were in the late 1800s.
Yeah, yeah.
In a lot of areas.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, which
Blame it on the water dripping off the spear. We killed that guy.
Yeah, we sure did.
You even get to wear a dress and feed his flesh to wayward daughters. Everyone is so impressed. Teachers, neighbors, mothers, fathers. First Testament was really great. The sequel was incredible. Like the Godfathers of the first two strokes. Every document's indelible.
Yeah, this is interesting, trying to figure out what he's talking about. And you even get to wear a dress, I think, followed up with feeding flesh to wayward daughters. So that's the priesthood, right?
Mm-hmm.
Kind of a little snide on that, I'm guessing. But the First Testament, looking at the Testaments as comparing them to the Godfather. For those of you who are not movie nerds, Godfather 1 and Godfather 2, the sequel, both won Best Picture. So it's kind of a standout and a proof that not all sequels are bad. And Godfather 3, we're pretending, well, actually, Godfather 3 is perfect for his analogy, isn't it?
Yep.
So if he's talking about the Testaments, if he's talking about religion, if he's talking about Old Testament, it being the first one, and the Gospels, New Testament being the second one, as being incredible. Yeah. And then where did we go? What about the threequel?
The third.
What are we doing with the Third Testament? Where are we at with that?
Infidels and heartbreak beats, smidges of bad ecstasy. I must have left it in my pocket with my Christianity and my rocket. I'm binging hard on Annette Bening and listening to R.E.M. again.
What is he talking about? I love again, the imagery and the evoking, which is probably a lot of it is, I've said this before with story and with parables, is that if you completely understand it, then it's not a really great story. It's just a good story. And this is a great song. I'm beginning to think. So I love the image of Christianity in my pocket, because I'm not using it, but I don't think I understand what the other references are all about.
Yeah, for me, he's talking about these bigger ideas, but then again, he's bringing in like these personal things about himself and what he's listening to, and I think increases the impact of it, at least for me, when it has the personal mixed with these larger things that's going on.
The specifics are what make things universal. It's a rule in screenwriting that most people don't understand because it seems contradictory, that the more general you are, the more universal. But we all live specifically.
Right. Also, there's a relational thing going on. So like when I know what people like to listen to or what they've been doing, I can relate to them as a human being more than if they're, just talking about stuff.
Yeah.
So
begin to begin over and over, begin to begin over and over. I am not in Kansas, where I am, I don't know where.
Begin to begin over and over. Yeah, like we're always restarting who we are. Madeline L'Engle was once asked, how do you get in the mindset of a child to write a Wrinkle in Time, to write and she says, well, we misunderstand our time because she says, I am 14 and I am 32 and I am 54. I am all of those. We don't stop being one to be the other. And I think we're constantly beginning to begin again. We're constantly, okay, home is not home, so where is home? And Catherine and I certainly in our moves have gone through that thing of okay, we're brand new to this place. How do we make this home? And now that we've made it home and we leave, how do we leave it behind? And who are we now? And we begin to begin again. We're constantly redefining who we are. We're constantly trying to figure out where we are. I love begin to begin over and over, begin to begin over and over, followed by I'm not in Kansas anymore, and I don't know where I am. Because that is the constant cycle. But I think the thing that this song does with its playing around with past and present, it is still reminding us we're still that other thing. We carry that with us, which is what's so hard, right? Which is what's so hard is that we carry it with us. We carry Kansas with us even when we're not in Kansas anymore. It is kind of interesting as well, because the whole point of Wizard of Oz is Dorothy learning what Kansas means, because she doesn't know when she leaves Kansas. I like to point out to my students that the reason she's not there when the tornado first hits, the reason she's not in the cellar with the rest of the family is because she had run away from home, right? So the idea of running away from home at the beginning and there's no place like home at the end means she's gone on a journey of discovery of what that used to mean. There's certainly a lot of, at least for me, of going, wow, did I even appreciate what we used to have? Or was I too busy complaining about that? Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, the begin to begin. We also, at least personally, I also feel like I have the sense that, over time, people have been getting better and better and better. But then things happen where you realize, well, people still have all the same issues that we've always had. And realizing that too is not always fun.
No. Over and over. Oh.
Yep.
Take me for a walk and blame this on the water dripping off the spear.
Yeah, so that's silence right there, right?
Yeah.
I don't know what the take me for a walk is, but so twice now off of the water off the spear has been followed by a fade out of the instrumentation, or allowing it to resonate away, and then restarting, which I guess is part of his thing, begin to begin again.
Right.
And now we go into a choral hymn concept of a response, right? And in some ways, yeah, I didn't mention this about his voice, his vocal quality, which I like, is that when it has to drop for the low notes, it almost loses its musicality in a way into kind of a growl, a rocky growl, very reminiscent actually of Cohen
Yes.
doing Hallelujah. Very, very reminiscent of that style. I don't know if it's common with the National to kind of play it at this specific register, but it does allow for kind of an unearthliness and etherealness in opposition. And then this choir is coming in very high pitched.
Yep.
We'll do that with, I talk about Home Free will often, they've got a bass who can blow out your speakers by your subwoofers for going so low. But if you pay attention to their arrangements, the verse before he's going to hit the ultra low note, the verse before that is always ascended higher. They'll go up into a higher and even into a falsetto so that you see the dichotomy more. And definitely they're doing that here. They're definitely bringing in the angels choir to respond to this bass, this bass sadness. Shades of Job. Definitely.
Yep.
Here, shades of Job.
Yeah. Well, and also, like we were saying, the contrast gets your attention as well.
If the sadness of life makes you tired, and the failures of man make you sigh, you can look to the time soon arriving, when this noble experiment winds down and calls it a day.
Yeah, I don't know whether that's voices or an instrument. It's almost like the can't think of the name of the instrument that's doing that kind of echoing high pitch, which is again an angelic kind of sound. I love that tonally, it's still very minor in its tone, even though it's that higher pitch thing. But our words of hope are not coming ultra happy.
No,
it's not a peppy,
and it's slowing down.
Yep. So I wonder, there's two ways, I guess, of looking at this. There's more than two, but I have two that pop into my mind of, is this that resonant hope that you get in the Charles Schultz, where even though you can't see it, there's something saying, hold on, or is this denial? And it could go either way, right? This idea of, all right, well, you can look forward to the day when it just eventually just dies out, when they figure out that, oh yeah, this doesn't work. It's a very kind of a fatalistic hope.
Well, yeah, it also taps, I don't know if this is what they were going for, but it also taps into the whole democracy being referred to as, this grand experiment.
The grand experiment.
Yep.
Well, certainly some people feel like it's time for that to go away. Just notice I'm drinking out of my bottle, my little Peanuts ad.
Well played.
Yeah, it is kind of interesting. The quote from Lord of the Rings, the conversation between Frodo and Gandalf, of Frodo saying, I wish I had not lived to see these times, and Gandalf saying, yeah, nobody knows the times that they live in, and it's not their job to know what the times are. It's just their job to figure out what to do within those times, right?
Well, that is all kinds of genius.
Tolkien knows what he's doing.
He seemed to do that, yeah.
Shadows getting shorter, I'm a child at the border. Oh, Godmother, you can't ignore us. There isn't anybody else left to love us.
Yeah, interesting that we kind of go into this beat, which I don't think existed before, right? This
No,
is
it didn't.
introduced there.
Yep.
Um,
Along with
yeah,
the violin. Yep.
yeah, heartbeat is it? Um, moving from the we're not in Kansas, I don't know what to do, to a little bit more of this is what it is.
Yep.
This is where we're at. Interesting that it's he's not calling out to God, but Godmother.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
At this point, yep.
At this point, child on the border. Ooh, yeah.
Mm.
Too many echoes, right?
Yep.
Lovers, I wanted you when I was a child. I raked the leaves and I started fires. Now I'm reading whatever you give me. It's half your fault, so half forgive me.
Yeah, I don't know. For me, the leaves, I'm not quite sure. For me, it goes back to my own childhood where we would
Yep.
have to collect the leaves and burn them.
Yep.
So that's the assignment being given is collect the leaves and burn them. Yeah, I'm reading what you give me. That's half your fault, so half forgive me. I don't know what this is, but I love it. What it's kind of saying to me is, when I look at this world, I can only read what's there. I can only read what's given to me, right? And if this is a conversation with God or Godmother, it's don't blame me because this is where you are. So half forgive me for the way that I'm reacting.
Yeah, or only half blame me.
Yeah,
that's a pretty honest take. Feels like, yep.
I'm way behind in reflex math, biphasic, sleepless, emotional crashes. 2 days into one, shove them together. I always wake up way before the weather.
Yeah, he's going over my head here for most of this. The way things run together, though, I identify quite a bit with. Waking up before the weather is an interesting way to talk about lack of sleep. I'm sure that we'll see in the comments, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
What's he referring to here?
I'm just looked up biphasic sleep. A nap or siesta in addition to the usual sleep episode at night.
Okay. It is interesting when we're, I don't know, and I know it's not just me, can't wait to sleep throughout the day and then can't sleep at night.
Yep.
Don't know what that's all about.
Whether my mother needs an army, but I'm leaving home and I'm scared that I won't have the balls to punch a Nazi. Father, what is wrong with me?
Yeah, certainly in reacting to whatever our world is at. I thought that the reference to Nazi was interesting to me in that a lament of the past 10 plus years has been I've never understood Nazi Germany. I understand the rise of Nazism. I've always understood the KKK. I've always understood that there were those elements. But how in the world would the people ever get behind it? How in the world did they ever allow it? How did they in the world? That just never made sense to me. And again, slowly over the past 12 years, you start to see, oh, I still don't understand it, but I'm watching it happen. There were people who 20 years ago are on record as saying what their opinion of certain leaders who have certain moral failures on the record, like no question. And those same exact people here later, fine with it.
Right.
If it's my guy, fine with it. If I get economic comfort, fine with it. If I get whatever comfort it is that we're looking for. If I get that comfort, then the things that I thought, the values that I thought were worth fighting for, aren't worth fighting for. Right. Now, Yeah, so that's one side of it. For those of us who feel we're on the bright side of history here, is going, oh my goodness. But the other side of it, which is exactly what he brings up in the song, is, am I strong enough to because certainly even with the rise of any dictatorship, there are people who say, no, I don't agree with this.
Right.
But
And,
do
then,
they?
and there's people that don't agree with it, and then yeah, like he's saying, are
Yeah.
too afraid to do anything.
Too afraid to do anything about it. Not strong enough to punch a Nazi.
Yep.
Which is Captain America. That's the cover of the first
Mm-hmm.
Captain America, right? Is him punching Hitler. Um, yeah, so that's the fear now, right? It says, are we entering times where things really, we have a candidate who has said that it's time for the Constitution to go away, and has said that we won't ever have to vote again. Who has said all of these things?
Well, you've got people saying that they would rather follow someone who is a dictator than someone who is not, but on the other side.
Right. Yeah. So we're at a point where it's funny. 2 weeks ago, people were saying I was being hyperbolic, but where we know that there are going to be certain elements, we know for a fact that there are certain elements who are saying out loud that it's time to end the way it's time to become a dictatorship.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, am I strong enough? Am I courageous enough?
And at what
point, how much am I willing to lose? Bonhoeffer, a movie just came out on him, which I haven't seen the movie yet, but he faced the same dilemma, and he died for wanting to stand up against the creation of a dictatorship.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm probably not.
Well, I don't know either. The other thing I think of is there's that I don't know if it's an analogy, but it's a way of describing a little bit of how we got here and how Germany got where it was. And it was, what is it like if you take 10 people in a room? I'm going to get this wrong, but if you take 10 people in a room and 8 of them are perfectly fine just going about their business and leaving other people alone, but 2 out of the 8 are probably going to want to control everyone else, but there's only 2 of them. So what do? They have to convince at least a certain percentage of the rest of the 8 that 2 of their own are bad or are the enemy, and then get them to their side. And then, of course, that only lasts so long, and so then you have to expand your definition of who the enemy is.
Right.
Which
always need an enemy.
Yep.
Yeah. And it has to be from within.
Yep.
For this particular brand to work, it can't be. We need to protect ourselves from the enemy without. It has to be. We have to protect ourselves from the enemy within.
Yep. Dehumanizing them is a good way to.
Yeah, they're eating our dogs.
Yep.
With me, I am not in Kansas. Where I am, I don't know where. Take me for a walk and blame this on the water dripping off the spear. Oil droppers, rubber gloves, I rake the leaves, I lit them up. I read whatever it is you give me. It's half your fault, so half forgive me. At the real Neil Armstrong taught me to play cutthroat at my Aunt Angela's house, while my real dad skate got caught in the ice. He drove us home with a spiral fracture. It was
Yeah, and again, going into the specifics, going into the past memories. I like what's coming up, because he's in the back of the car with a spiral fracture, and this is where he feels safe.
Right.
Right, which those of us who grew up in a certain era, as some of the best moments are in the dark, coming back from an event, family event, huddled up in the back of the car, sleeping.
Mm-hmm.
It's the best sleep you're ever going to get.
Oh,
The best sleep you're ever going to
100%.
get.
Yep, without a doubt. Yeah, yeah. This stuff and these parts of this song are really what resonates. It makes the whole thing resonate for me.
Yeah.
It was then I was enlightened. Roberta Flack the whole way home. I was entirely unfrightened, dozing off and eternally unalone. The flowers cover over everything. They cover over everything. The flowers cover over everything.
Yeah. Eternally unalone.
Mm-hmm.
There's so many ways to say that, and he chose to say it that way because usually you're going to hear eternally alone, eternally unalone.
Not alone.
And the flowers, right? The flowers cover everything. In part, an allusion to "Where Have All the Flowers Gone," a popular song from the '60s, '70s. And the idea being that the flowers, it's a cycle, right? So the flowers are picked by the young girls. Where have the young girls gone? They've married off. Where have all the young men gone? They've gone to war. Where have all the soldiers gone? They've gone to graveyards. Where have all the graveyards gone? They've been turned into flowers. They've been covered in flowers. Right. So that begin again all over and over again. The idea that the earth will reclaim itself. And the imagery of flowers. I mean, there's so much to the imagery of flowers, right?
Yeah.
From the lilies of the field on to
throwing them over caskets to covering up bad smell to
so many.
The cyclical nature of go away and then come back again.
I am not in Kansas where I am. I don't know where. Take me for a walk and blame this on the water dripping off the spear.
Time has come now to stop being human. Time to find a new creature to be. Be a fish or a weed or a sparrow. For the earth has grown tired and all of your time has expired. All the gardens are sprouting with flowers. All the treetops are bursting with birds. And the people all know that it's over. They lay down their heads and they hang up their tiresome words.
And I love those long. I love silence as part of a song. Kicking in with the choral sound, the overnotes. And notice the last time the overnotes were just kind of there, echoing without specific words, and they start to gain words. And at one point, they're even leading. Right? They say the words before the chorus gets to them. The earth is tired, so just takes over. Right? We're done. We're done. Hang up their tiresome words. I think of the song which comes from the Psalm on the willows. There, they hang up our lyres, our our musical instruments, and our captives there require of a song. Yeah, yeah, not hopeful, not nihilistic at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to go home and listen to this song over and over.
Yeah, it sure resonated with me. It's just like the end of the song where it feels like we're at is this hanging of these last notes that are just okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we're hovering.
Yeah.
We're hovering. We don't know what we're doing. We don't know what direction we're going, and we're hovering. Yeah. So thanks for cheering me up, Bryan.
Yeah. Hey.
In a way, you did though. We need to find ways to properly process in the arts.
Yeah.
Several people have been saying it, but somebody else was saying recently that we're going into a season of the artist. We're going into a season where the artists will be the ones to have the voice, and especially as people of faith, we need to embrace that role and speak. Because how else are we going to process it? Because we can't. I mean, again, the thing I love about this song, even though we just analyzed it, is that you can't really analyze it.
Right.
It's way too good to be analyzable. It's way too good to be put into any kind of a box. Right. And we're going to need a lot of conversation that cannot be boxed, that cannot be analyzed, that cannot be put into logic.
Yep.
And that conversation, that conversation is going to come through our artwork. So get out there and do some more murals, Bryan.
Deal.
Done.
As long as you keep writing.
Okay, I will.
Telling stories.
I will.
And sharing stories. All right, man.
All righty. Thanks again for having me on.
Yep.